So I've got Macrosoft versus MarsBar. Macrosoft, our Protoss player, up in the top left of Dreamcatcher, and MarsBar, also Protoss, in the bottom right. I feel like we haven't seen as many games on Dreamcatcher. Not sure why that is. Is it because most people are just playing them in the order that they appear in the list? There's no need to stick to that order. Any order you like, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so Dreamcatcher's nice. It's a big map, and I quite like Dreamcatcher. Plenty of space. Now it is big, but they're actually, it's really obvious where your first four, and indeed 5 bases are, because you're going to expo here. Then either one of these is actually can be hard to hold. But assuming you do hold that and you end up on 4 bases, you end up pretty spread out on your side of the map. And then after that, you have to take one of these bases that's equidistant for both players. So even though it's a big map, it generally isn't a map that ends up divided in 2. Because beyond the second base, it starts to get pretty sketchy. And I think that's why I like it, because you can end up with some real back and forwards, with each player losing bases, taking bases again, and a lot of back and forth like that can be quite a lot of fun. So you can have some pretty epic games on this map, kind of because it's hard, once you get to the point in the game, once you're at like the 12-minute mark or whatever, and you're on 4 bases, going up to 5 bases, it's just really hard to stay on top of them. It's really hard to keep, to stop your opponent from dropping, sniping, and running away again. So I kind of like it for that. These destructible rocks, it's worth mentioning, if you kill these, they fall across this, so they tumble over and they block this path. That is probably useful intel, whereas these destructible rocks don't. This is a narrow choke to pass through these, and if you break these, it's wider open. These, if you kill these, they fill the gap in between. And then they become destructible rocks that you can like blast your way through. But obviously destructible rocks with a lot of health, and they count as armored as well. They have quite a lot of armor, so it does a pretty good job of slowing a person down. So it's going to be invisible men, but there's only actually 2 gateways. The third gateway finishing up just now. MarsBar is actually doesn't have warp gate. No warp gate. Are you kidding? Without the warp gate, that's a bit miserable. So the DTs are in production, but my goodness, that's really slowed this down. Look, here we are at 5 minutes 40, and only now the DT's been loaded up. So normally the way you work this is the prism finishes up and you get the prism across the map. Macrosoft is going to come in here. Needs to fly this a little bit further to see the Dark Shrine. Dude, come on. Oh, it's going to run out of energy. I like the idea, Microsoft, yes, to scouting, but, do actually scout. So normally the idea is the prism flies across before the Dark Shrine's even finished, and gets to about here, opens up, Dark Shrine finishes up, you warp in your DTs and you drop them in. And you do that at about the 4-minute mark. 3 minutes late. I mean, honestly, by this stage as a Protoss, you should have a cannon in every mineral line. Just because there's such a high likelihood that your opponent will drop you to pull your units out of position or whatever. MarsBar's flying the whole way over here, is going to open up. Has he? What? He hasn't got warp yet, has he? No. So I'm not sure why you open you don't have to open the prism to unload it. There's no need for that. Anyway, there's nothing here that can see these yet. The observer is now going to turn up, and the DTs are going to get focused on. And without warp gate, that's them gone. So yeah, you did snipe this Nexus, but look, most of the mineral fields are actually, several mineral fields gone. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mineral fields left, one of which has only got 70 minerals remaining. It's not that big a dent in the economy. What Microsoft needs to do, though, is stop these workers from long-range mining and send them over here, so that it's getting better efficiency out of that. So certainly not terminal damage by any stretch of the imagination. I'm really worried. Let me just back it up here. Back it up. These are 30-second backs at a time. Oh, okay. Oh. I was really worried that MarsBar wasn't building anything, but it's because I didn't have the production tab up. It was the upgrades tab. But look, production tab is indeed empty, and it's still empty. And you know, those gaps in production, we're on ×8 speed, so no units being built, no units being built, no units being built. 3 zealots, you know. So like, what is the time scale there? I haven't really been watching the clock, but that is an awful lot. Uh-oh, I've missed something important. That is a long time to go to only build 3 zealots. Anyway, MarsBar's obviously been distracted by this cannon. Look how effective shield batteries are. I don't know if you caught a good look at that, but man, that cannon took a beating. So look how much time was bought by one cannon and some shield batteries. The overcharge goes down arguably a bit late. If you'd have overcharged while the cannon was still there, the cannon wouldn't have died. It would have killed all those stalkers. Literally, overcharge on a shield battery is so good. I mean, it's so good. And the way it works is a shield battery within range of a Nexus. If the Nexus has energy, I think it's 100 energy, it throws down an overcharge and the shield battery never dies. All those gaps in production are going to be the undoing of MarsBar here, because you know, dare I look at how much there is in the bank for these players? 5,000 minerals in the bank, you know, 5k in the bank. So if that 5k was stalkers, you've won this game, haven't you? Simple as that. You know, that's look how much money in the bank here. 50 stalkers. 50. If you'd have been building units the whole time instead of watching DTs, you know, a click for the win. Like, you win this hands down. So lessons to be learned: turn the minerals into stuff. Always, always, always. Just keep what, you know, when you're playing, your minerals are up in the top right. Just keep glancing up there, and if you've got 1,000 minerals, it's too much. Nothing in the game costs 1,000 minerals. Nothing, literally nothing. So, you know, at that point, say to yourself, all right, I'm not spending my money fast enough. I need more production structures. If you're struggling with like the kind of warp gate thing, then you can turn them back into gateways and queue stuff up to just, but make sure you're always, always spending that money. Because, you know, tech is great and all, but in general, especially in a mirror matchup, PvP, the biggest army generally does better. Although there have been some dubious examples of late where that hasn't quite been true. But, you know, by and large, the bigger army wins. So, you know, do yourself a favor, turn the minerals into money. GG.